Hello and welcome to Epic Trash, our weekly gaming podcast about all things gaming. I'm your host, Bruce. Here's my co-host and pal, Chris. My co-host and other pal, Crow. Here we are, another show. How are you doing? How's your day going?
I think this is episode 8.
Yeah,
So
episode 8.
Almost 2 months.
My favorite number.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now you guys know.
Like that Tim Burton movie? Oh wait, that's 9.
Nah, close. So, as always, hit us up on the email, epictrash@groupmail.com, and the Twitters @epictrashshow. Also, please sub to the YouTube account and comment, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Question of the week, comment below.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of, our question this week is, have you ever gotten into a fight over video games? With your friends, your parents, strangers on the street? What happened? Let us know.
A physical altercation?
Yeah, that would be exciting. Please fill us in. And then as for the challenge, send us a clip or a screenshot from a game that has to do with trash somehow. If you're in Grand Theft Auto and you see a piece of garbage, zoom in on that bitch. Be like, trash.
That would be acceptable.
Yeah. So, please get all that done for us and into the news.
Apex Battle Pass Season 1 is coming out tomorrow. This is recorded on Monday, and so tomorrow is Tuesday, right?
I think it comes out.
Still work like that?
Yeah, this probably come out on Wednesday, right?
I think it says Tuesday, the 19th.
Yeah, so it'll be
today.
yesterday as of viewing this.
Right, but today when we're recording it, it's Monday.
Yeah.
So it's going to be Season 1 and the Battle Pass will go live Tuesday. On
Finally.
March 19th.
Battle Pass has been highly demanded.
Yeah, I think, and yeah, it's kind of crazy because the game just kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And then so I think this is kind of quick to just, I wonder if they planned like it being this popular and having a demand for a battle pass.
I mean,
and things like that.
you really can't plan for something like that,
Yeah.
but you kind of.
Right.
But I'm sure this was in the works anyway.
Mm-hmm. And so the battle pass will offer 100 unique rewards, Apex credits, Apex packs, and more. Most likely skins will be a lot of it, potentially banners, quips, things like that. Will include. So Season 1, that starts at the same time, will include the Battle Pass and the new legend Octane. And it's still not confirmed if Octane is part of the Battle Pass or not. I would like to think that he's not going to be, but I could be wrong. I still think he should be an unlockable character just like Mirage
Okay.
and Caustic.
But those were pay, weren't they?
No, you unlock them with in-game currency.
Oh, I mean, you could do either or, I thought.
I think you can buy the Apex coins to unlock them if you want, or you can just earn regular in-game.
Right, which would be nice.
Yeah, through regular battles. And then, so there's a bunch of new rewards for the season that come out for everyone, and then there's exclusive Battle Pass rewards that you can acquire or earn by completing the challenges for the Battle Pass. And what happens is like you have a Battle Pass level, and then so like probably as you would earn regular in-game currency or points, you're going to earn the battle points. And then so you'll have levels, and every time you complete a level, it should unlock a reward that goes with that level.
Gotcha.
And so the thing is, there's, like I said, you can if you haven't bought the battle pass, you can still earn battle pass points.
Yeah.
Up to level 30. But you're not going to be able to get any of those rewards until you buy the battle pass. So you could have them ready to be unlocked and opened and acquired,
right,
but you can't get them until you buy the battle pass.
Oh, I see.
And the initial battle pass is €8 or around $9. And then there's a battle pass bundle, and then so with the battle pass too, I think you get rewards like right away. You get some skins like right off the bat, and then with the battle pass bundle, you get more free upfront rewards, and you also jump levels allegedly. So I think you jump to like 30 automatically or something.
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure what level you jump to, but that's how it's advertised, is that you jump levels.
Right, the levels.
And then so with buying the pass, you also get Apex coins, a certain amount of Apex coins. I think it's like 950 or something.
Okay, yeah.
And then with the bundle, you get, I think it was like 2,500.
Right, and you can use that towards like in-game
Yeah,
cosmetics
kind
and
of
stuff.
like whatever.
Yeah.
And then, so that's going to be season 1, and then they're already talking about having season 2, 3, and 4. Season 2 is going to be out in June. Season 3 is going to be September, and then season 4 is going to be December.
Okay, so it's like quarterly.
Yeah.
Just
yeah,
like
normal.
Okay.
Just like the game I like comparing it to.
I'm so surprised.
Siege. Or basically what they were saying too, and like I don't know a lot about it, is the Fortnite Battle Pass.
Okay.
But basically it's going to be working the same as the Fortnite Battle Pass.
It's about the same price.
So yeah, pretty much all the extras that you can want, maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know. I know there's supposed to be like new skins just coming with, and new extras that come with the season alone.
Right.
And then obviously there's the exclusive stuff that they say you can only earn by having the Battle Pass or the Battle Pass bundle.
Mm-hmm.
Another interesting thing is that they also announced crossplay, but they haven't said when they're going to implement, but they did mention that it's a thing.
Crossplay between
Platforms,
but
yes.
not PC?
I'm not sure.
PS4.
Yeah, well, you know why I'm worried, right? Is because the people with a mouse and keyboard are going to dominate the people with a controller.
They'll probably have some contingency for that.
I mean, I have yet to see anything like that in the world, you know? That's like, that. I know Sea of Thieves split the player base because when it's PvP like that, so I'd be interested to see how that plays out.
Yeah.
But, I mean... But I'm all for crossplay. That's exciting.
One thing they can do is they can have like voluntary servers where it's like you're willingly joining in with a mix of PC players.
Right.
So if you want to be at a disadvantage and still play with PC friends, then you can do that.
Right. Yeah, that's what GTA Online did. So yeah. That makes sense. That would be good. At least you know what you're getting into.
Yeah. I think it will potentially be nice to have an option too, like if you want to stay on your device or within your device or not.
Right.
And I don't know if it's going to work like that. I'm sure there's definitely going to be people though who are like making videos like PlayStation 4 player kicking the shit out of PC players on Apex.
Maybe.
I'm sure there's going to be one or two.
Sure.
There are some really crazy Apex players.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I know Shroud's all over it.
Yeah.
And there's this guy named Dizzy who's like really crazy. He's like super young, Ben.
Yeah.
Like kind of.
I've seen.
But he's real. I think he's the one who has a lot of the videos that are like world record kills in a game and stuff.
Those are the people I watch, and then I'm like, I'm never playing this game. why would I even try?
Yeah, they basically just run Wingman.
Yeah.
And which is like super OP, but they did nerf the Wingman slightly. But they still want the Wingman to be like the #1 gun of the game. Like obviously it has the highest skill.
Right.
For using it.
They need to buff that Mozambique, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like I said before, I told you Mozambique ain't bad.
I'll miss the memes if they do.
I'm sure people will still make memes.
But I do want to ask, like, what do you guys think about this whole, like, the free-to-play / Battle Pass gaming scheme? Do you think it's an overall net good or a net bad? Do you have an opinion, or?
My opinion is always that free-to-play ultimately is not good.
No?
Yeah.
Just because it's, I mean... Well, so my argument for it, I think it's great because, first of all, you get the game for free. Mm-hmm. So you instantly have a player base that you and your friends can jump in without much, upfront cost. Try it out, see if it's fun, and then this is like adding missions. It's like if you were to buy like a campaign, and it's like, well, it's just kind of like back in the day when Doom unlocked their levels. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know. I think it's a net good, but I mean, I guess I could see why you might not.
I think part of it for me is that ultimately I feel like these games enable other publishers to put more, to be more microtransaction heavy in their games too.
All right, because it's like, well, these guys did it, therefore we're going to charge full price and do microtransactions. Yeah.
I think
looking at you, EA.
I think the way that it works the best is like with a multiplayer game like this.
Yeah.
Where it's just very. I mean, it's just really easy to pick up and play, but then to jump off too. I mean, and where like the thing about the Apex world really isn't that big.
Right.
Like the map, they only have one map.
Yeah.
And it's not like super large or anything, and so it just has like a high replayability level. But then it's also just strictly multiplayer.
Yeah.
And so I think I think it's good for something like that because it's like think about how much content there really is, and so I don't think it's that bad.
Right.
But and so I think it's good that they letting it out for free. I never really thought about how it affects other like AAA developers, but I think it's good because then I think it's going to push them harder to release stuff.
Right.
That's really good. But I think for somebody who makes a game with a really large world, a lot of content, and like a lot of depth, and a lot of time put into like the game mechanics, I think they should still be charging money up front and then potentially coming through with the DLC.
Yeah.
And not as many, unless they have like a multiplayer side. But what happens a lot, and from what I've seen, is like usually the game is really strong with a single player, or it's really strong multiplayer, and so I think multiplayers that aren't that huge, and that's the same thing with like the early access games and stuff. Like I don't mind potentially spending a little money to like help them out, and if they're doing something good and they're updating regularly,
you could be
like
engaged.
if they're doing the right, if a company is doing the right things by its fan base. And you know what I mean, like doing a lot for their fan base, then it's like I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I think that's part of the issue, though, is that the games that have the microtransactions tend to be the ones that are more at the beck and call of the shareholders than the actual game players.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's where I'm like, this is too much.
That's fair. I just like the way that the new way that it's all. I think if there's anything to be said about Apex is that they've done microtransactions really well so far, because it's like all of it's cosmetic. You can jump in, you don't have to pay a dime, and you're going to have just as much fun as the guy with wicked skins. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't know. That's just one man's opinion.
Yeah.
I guess my final threshold for if a free to play game would be worth it or not is like, if you dump a full price $60 into this free to play game, do you feel like it's $60 well spent, or do you feel like you're still kind of being screwed in a way, and that like you should be getting more out of your $60 worth, if you were to invest that much?
I think that's fair, and I think that's great because that's on the user to determine what they want to pay.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, that comes down to the user if they want to spend $60. But what's nice is like you can already pick it up and play and kind of have a feeling of what you're getting into.
And at this point, if you didn't really buy anything more than one skin in the battle pass, you're still way ahead of the AAA price.
Well, but the thing of it too is like you don't really need anything. You don't need to buy the battle pass just to play, and like it's not going to make you any better.
Right. It just gives you more content to grind towards the meta or whatever.
As long as it's not pay to win, I don't care.
Yeah,
I mean, do whatever, and it's like if you want somebody to buy your $60 game, like $60 up front unreleased, then like make sure you do what you're supposed to do and make a game that is worth $60 up front.
Yeah.
Because I feel like with the $60 price tag, like I said before, is like you need to be coming, ready for war. Like you need to come with a good large size world story, really good characters, really, good looking graphics, good looking sound, and like don't come into it like half stepping.
It seems like these online games are the ones that seem to struggle with that, like Anthem and Destiny at launch. Yeah, it was the same story. It was
every time.
Yeah. Let's make this cool online shooter game, shooter looter, and sell it for $60.
Every Blizzard game had that problem too. WoW launch, the Diablo launch, that was they all had it.
And I don't really understand the issue. Like, is it really that complicated with all this money behind you and all these talented developers?
It's because there's the day one influx that crashes all the servers that they know
it's
they won't
not even
need.
a server thing. It's just like why can't you make these games more compelling to the player base?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, yeah, that's another story. I thought we were just talking technically speaking.
No. Like, technically speaking, like, I get it. Like, the day one you're going to have essentially the equivalent of, like, a DDoS attack practically on your server base.
Right.
So that's fine. But, like, it's just, a lot of these games suffer at launch when it comes to content and things like that. And it's like, they want you to spend $60 plus tax on a game, and then the game gets stale after like 2 days because you've pretty much seen it all. Yeah,
well, I mean, part of that is because we have such steep competition that like the people who do it really right and catch lightning in a bottle, they make it look like that should be the norm. So there might be something of a perception thing there, and then also the fact that like if you're gonna have a game that launches the publishers, it's like everybody knows that these publishers aren't making that much money. It's like every game has to be a hit now, or you risk losing the development team and it goes under and gets bought out.
Well,
So
the
it's
irony
like,
is that the publisher's the ones that are most of the time making all the money.
Right.
Like the majority of it.
well, it's a
making profit.
symbiotic relationship because they need to provide the money for the developers to make the game so they can get the money back so they can do it again. You know, and it's like it's a give and take, but unfortunately it makes people push out games way faster than they're like, we need this, otherwise you're going out of business. So
I think we're going to see an upward swing in like we're noticing like this shift where like all the big AAA stuff is starting to go downhill.
Yeah.
And like the stocks and stuff of like all these publishers are going down.
Yeah.
And they're starting to release more and more. It seems to be like a more common story that these AAA games are launching not so great.
Yeah.
And they have to be fixed after the fact. But like by then they've already lost everybody.
Right.
But on the opposite end of the coin here, we have a bunch of up and coming developers who are like smaller time.
Yeah.
Who have these access to these platforms, these stores, where they can release like their own little indie projects
Right.
on backed, you know.
I'm in the same boat
Yeah.
because it's like you got it's the rise of the AA, you know what I mean? It's like the AAA developer like at Ubisoft or you know someone else like that where they have like, you know, like the game like Child of Light or that game Steep that came out or Trials Rising. There are all these like all these like small games that are backed by a huge company, so they put out a polished product that looks good that didn't cost that much money.
Yeah.
And gets a nice solid fan base around it, you know?
I think a big thing too that is like some of the companies that are like up and coming. I think they're more times than not they're taking like bigger risks in game decisions and like game
Oh, for sure.
mechanics.
They
Because
have to.
most of the time it's a project of passion.
Yeah,
Right.
and then I think that's how that kind of changes some things for me. And I think right now, after like listening to you guys talking, where I think I'm coming from is like video games has become really popular.
Yeah.
So it's like there's a huge demand, like you were saying, to make the next hit.
Yeah.
And it's like because of how saturated the market is that, and I think what happens if you try to like if you are a AAA publisher, is like you're trying to follow the format that you know works, that'll make your company business year after year.
Right.
And it's like, so you're less willing to take those risks.
But that's
and
what you
then
need.
and then you have guys that come up and it's kind of a thing where maybe they're working another 40-hour job or something, and it's like, well, this is the game I want to make, and I know it's risky, but potentially people are going to love it as much as I do.
Right.
And then that kind of thing, you know, starts to work, and
Yeah.
like you said, AAA down,
Yeah.
AA up.
I think so. It seems
I think
that's what-
it's going to find like a happy medium somewhere based on the different types of formats that they have for games and you know what's working and what's not. Because right now sometimes AAA works and sometimes a smaller project works, and it's kind of like, well,
The greatest combination, of course, are those publishers who are AAA, who can still be like, no, this is the way we're going to do it, and we don't care what you say, publisher, just have faith in us, like
Right.
Rockstar.
Yeah.
Like they get away with that stuff all the time, but like they're full of like really dedicated and passionate people, and like Take-Two knows that they can trust Rockstar to put out a solid project.
Right.
So
they
they're
have a
just
good
like-
track record.
So you know,
Yeah, those are good. I'm on the subject of smaller developers capturing lightning in a bottle. Beat Saber. It's like the biggest VR game in the world right now.
Yeah.
We had a Beat Saber party on Friday. That was fun.
that was a fun time.
They released the new Monster Cat DLC, which is a bunch of dubby step stuff. It was good. It was all EDM, and the stepping was great. You know it's good because the South by Southwest Gaming Awards gave them the VR Game of the Year award. They also got Most Promising New IP. So, yeah, the South by Southwest show that just happened a little while ago, they handed out a bunch of awards. They gave the Trending Game of the Year to Red Dead 2, and they gave, obviously, VR Game of the Year to Beat Saber, and the Video Game of the Year was God of War. So,
Really?
got some.
God of War won like all the Game of the Year awards.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Over Red Dead though, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense to me, but what can you do?
Yeah.
I can sort of understand, like, I don't really agree with it.
Yeah.
Because I've played both, and I love both, and, like, Oh man, it's really hard to like.
It seems like what they've been doing is giving Red Dead all like the technical achievements, best this, best that.
Well, they gave him best like voice actor and stuff. Too.
Yeah, and so it's like they get all these awards, so they get the recognition, and then they give the full package to God of War because it's like a one complete. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, I mean maybe that's how they see it though. It's like a complete package.
Right.
It's
I
like
don't know.
who brought the best package to the players.
Yeah.
And who did a lot of stuff right. But I don't know. I mean, I thought Red Dead was like really good.
I'm still playing it.
Yeah.
I'm still playing it, but they actually have a problem where the patch just came out. It's patch 1.06, and it's actually downscaled the graphics.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. So
How bad is it?
it's not terrible. I got a couple pictures here. I don't know. Like I'll show you after, but you can show the.
Is it only for consoles or is it for PC too?
Well, I wish it was for PC too, but Red Dead never came out on PC.
Yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
So-
They typically do consoles first, and then like a year later,
Yeah.
PC.
So
Oh,
basically, what it is like that. It seems like they downgraded the ambient occlusion, which is like the lighting that reflects off other surfaces, so it's realistic lighting, and they turn that down because ambient occlusion is kind of a resource hog.
Yeah.
They're trying to improve like frames per second, but the conspiracy theorists out there think that they're trying to drive players away from the single player to get them into the online, make online play better. So at the sacrifice of these other, but yeah, there's some screenshots here. There was a tweet by DeReal Bandicoot that compared a couple of these screenshots. That the one on the left is your ambient occlusion, or the patch 1.0, and the one on the right is patch 1.06.
How bad does it look to you?
It's not terrible. I can't show you guys right now, but
Too bad they don't have the Essergen.
right. It's not terrible because, like I said, it's only lighting.
Yeah.
But I guess inside like the store, like the shop in Valentine, there's like 3 lights that are lit, and in this patch none of them are lit, and it's a little duller, and some of these textures look a little rougher without the lighting to do it. So
I feel like it's hard. That's hard because it's like what makes Red Dead 2 so great is like all those little details.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you start to kind of like take away from it. And I mean, what is it? Whether people complaining about getting huge frame rate drops or something, or
No, it was. Honestly, no one was really complaining here. It's just like after the new patch came out, I don't know what they were trying to do, but I think they were trying to balance performance, and it just fell short because it actually didn't improve performance from what I've heard on forums.
that's what I
grain
would
of
think
salt,
is like, okay, well then this is a hoax. Like,
yeah, I mean you could see it though. I mean it's.
I feel like it's a big enough thing where it's like, okay, why would you downgrade the game that I really like?
Yeah.
And if you, I mean, because like you think I'm gonna jump to multiplayer just to try to like argue that claim.
Yeah.
Well, according to DualShockers, it says they say that it's been reported that the occlusion visual downgrade is far from new. In fact, the change had been active since update 1.03 rolled out last year. So this isn't.
They just now noticed it, I guess.
Oh, well,
So I don't know what
if
to
that's
do.
the case, then like who cares really?
Yeah,
I just noticed it now months later.
Right.
Why is it a problem?
Maybe it's more. Maybe they turned it down more. I don't know. But regardless, Rockstar has no comment.
Yeah, because I'd never heard of that before, but when I was looking through news this week, I did see that too. Was that Rockstar turned the graphics down?
Yeah.
And so maybe they bumped it down a little bit more, and it made it like just a lot more obvious.
Or this guy tweeted it out and it just got traction on Reddit.
Yeah.
That's possible too. But
rumors are definitely real.
yeah, they are.
They can be rough.
They can. Especially this one about Modern Warfare 4, the new Call of Duty that's coming out late this year. From Gaming Intel, they said that there's going to be no BR mode, no specialists, and no zombies, thank God. In the new Call of Duty, they're going to be focusing on MP, campaign, and co-op. Like your classic Call of Duty. They're bringing it back to the roots.
Bringing the campaign back, huh?
Yeah, they brought, this year, Treyarch sacrificed the campaign for the Battle Royale mode, pretty much.
Who's developing this year?
It's Modern Warfare 4, so that's going to be Infinity Ward.
Is it going to be Infinity Ward?
Yep.
Okay.
So that's that, the rumor mill. So grain of salt with that because it's just from sources. So, but what's not a rumor is that No Man's Sky Beyond is coming out this summer, which is it's basically DLC, but it's free.
Yeah.
They keep pumping out DLC for this thing.
Like credit.
God bless them, man. I mean, they're saying it's a radical new social and multiplayer experience. So they're pretty much turning it into an MMO, but they're explicitly saying it's not an MMO. Because in the announcement last week, Hello Games said that No Man's Sky Online includes a radical new social and multiplayer experience which empowers players everywhere in the universe to meet and play together. Whilst this brings people together like never before and has many recognizable online elements, we don't consider No Man's Sky to be an MMO. It won't require a subscription, won't contain microtransactions, will be free for all existing players. Mm-hmm. So, that's, I'm gotta give it to them. I mean, they had the rough start, but they just keep pumping out stuff.
Yeah,
they could roll back.
And apparently this is a 3-in-1 update scenario, because they were... I was doing a little digging because I'm interested in this game, and I've been kind of tracking it since launch. I was there like the first week, and I saw how bad and bare bones it was.
Yeah, and you wanted to love that so much.
I really did, because like, you know, it satisfied that space explorer in me.
Yeah.
You know, so like,
I mean, it's a great concept.
Yeah, but the stuff that they've added to it, like the Atlas update and the next update, and like all those updates, and they're all free. Like this is stuff that most developers would.
It should have been there to begin with.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can say that, but like most developers would just have released that bare bones version and then just charge you as DLC for all the extra stuff they've put out, and it's all free. And like now they're giving you a full blown multiplayer component.
Yeah.
And what he said was that it's 3 updates that they were going to roll out individually, separately, but they're just going to put them all into one big update in the summertime now.
Oh, okay.
So there's actually a lot of components outside of online that are also going to be improved and added upon as well. So
nice.
That's pretty awesome. And Sean Murray, like, congratulations, because like I think that, you know, he's done a fantastic job, and he never deserved death threats and stuff.
Oh my god, there was so many people, like, it seemed like the whole world was like watching and looking for this game to come out, and then when it finally did, it was just like underperformance.
Yeah, you know, like ultimately, I think that it was better for the game than worse.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, I could be wrong, but like I feel like since it got released, it's like the developers went into high gear with cranking out content for it.
Yeah.
Because like they took years to finally get it out.
Yeah.
From the point where they had advertised it at E3 or whatever.
Yeah.
A few years prior. So like everybody had been waiting for it, like you said.
Yeah.
And Sony was like, well, where's this game? Like we need it. It's got to come out.
Yep.
But in the meantime, like they've really been putting this stuff out regularly.
Yeah.
And imagine if they hadn't released it and waited until like summer this year to finally release it, like nobody would care anymore.
Yeah.
I don't think.
I mean, that's true. But I mean, can you imagine being that developer, like with the whole world watching you, and then like
it's a lot of pressure, especially for like a little indie dev team.
Yeah.
Because there were like 8 to 10 guys.
Right.
So
as opposed to just one guy.
and they had their studio flooded. Like,
they lost all their stuff.
A lot of their stuff they had to. So they went through a lot of stuff to get this game, you know, to the state it's in today.
Yeah.
So
I did feel bad because I bought it day one and like I felt ripped off.
Oh, did you?
I was upset. Not within the first day, but like it took me a couple of days to realize that like, man, I got sold, down the river.
Put on your oxygen masks, brace for the smug. I was cautiously optimistic about this game and did not buy it.
Well, I was just
waited and picked it up for $20.
I was doing a lot of stuff on YouTube, so I was like, like I gotta get this.
Gotta do it.
Yeah, and then,
everyone was playing it.
Yeah, but I think at that time too, I wasn't like a super troll or anything.
Yeah.
Or else, because I wanted to make a game like I effing hate No Man's Sky, like kind of title, and but like I never did because I was trying to be nice.
But that's nice of you.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I still have it. I never play it though.
Yeah, just update it and give it another try. It's like a whole new game.
It really is like a whole new game. They've upgraded like texture map, like the textures of animals, the variety of animals, the variety of planets. Like they've changed so much stuff in that game, added so much more to it.
Yeah.
It really is a very, very different game from when it launched.
Gotcha.
Great.
Cool.
I should try and play it. Maybe after Sekiro I'll try and play it. Unless something else comes out that I really want to play.
I mean, it's a really fun game if like you just want to relax and like.
Yeah, I did enjoy it, and like kind of what Bruce said earlier was like that he said you really wanted to like it when it came out. I really wanted to like it too.
Yeah, I think we all did.
Invested my time into it, but it was just like after I started to just go from like planet to planet, and I learned a couple new alien. Yeah, this is awful. Yeah, and then like the only combat in the game in the beginning was like the fighter jets. Yeah, and it was like it's like impossible. You get in like 3 versus 1 situations, and they would just like be kicking your ass, and you just have to run away. And it's like there's no, even if you're like the best combat pilot in the world, like you're not winning this fight. Like,
I don't know. I won a few of those.
Were like 3v1s?
Yeah,
they were ridiculous.
Just get a couple ship upgrades, like ship shields and like ship health and stuff, and like a different set of guns, and you can just blast them all away.
Yeah, I couldn't be bothered.
It's definitely gotten a little bit more challenging now though, because they have like freight combat, like they'll have like giant freighters.
Yeah,
and you can get your own freighter and fleet now.
Really?
And and you can but like a lot of the time you'll jump into a galaxy and there'll be like this massive pirate attack on a fleet and a freighter and stuff, and you can like join in on that fight, and you can like, but at that point it becomes like it's really chaotic and just crazy. But it's exciting because like you have like 10 different pirate ships circling around this freighter, and you're trying to
space pirates.
You're trying to get the jump on all them.
Can you join the pirates?
Yeah, you can actually. You can attack the freighter instead.
Oh, really?
And like try and steal the loot from the pirates.
Oh, that's
and
interesting.
Stuff like that. Like
can you get on the freighter and roll pirates like get off their ships and can you fight them? Like...
What is this, Star Citizen?
I don't think there's combat like that like inside the freighter. But
you got guns. There was guns in the game.
Yeah, but those are still so far only used for like planet surfaces and stuff.
Wouldn't that be the biggest upset if No Man's Sky turned out to be like a better game than Star Citizen? Like slowly but surely just kept getting better. Yeah. Anyways, speaking of games that have a bunch of anticipation and way too much money pumped into them, CD Projekt Red with their Cyberpunk 2077. Rumor mill. A French website said that they saw Lady Gaga venturing over to CD Projekt Red, and the rumor is that she's recording mocap for that game.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So she may very well be in that game.
She would fit.
Yeah, I feel like she totally would.
Totally, yeah.
So there's not only that, that's pretty much all there is just some French website said that they saw her there, but people are like trying to back it up because on September 18th of last year, 2018, Cyberpunk's Twitter account replied to one of her super cryptic ass tweets. It was just a string of numbers and letters that she tweeted back in 2012, and they responded to her. They're like, yes. We agree. It was nuts. So like people are like, that's totally, there's something there. So we'll probably find out if those rumors are true.
That would be cool because if she did voice acting and stuff for the game, that would be fun.
And mocap, that'll be her in the game.
Right.
So
well, yeah, because if she's doing motion capture and then she would have to be doing some kind of voice recording.
Yeah. So we'll probably find out in E3.
It would be cool if she was like a singer or something, like something similar.
If only.
To the only thing. Well, like in the game, maybe she's like a performer. And like that just kind of reminds me because of the way.
Well, she was in that Netflix horror. Was it American Horror Story?
Yeah,
I think that was it. But yeah, she was in a whole season, and she can play parts.
Well, but that's what what it reminds me of is like, and only because it's like the futuristic cyberpunk game is like the what was the Bruce Fifth Element? Like the performance. What if she's going to be kind of like a performer in some kind of like environment like that, but then she turns out to be like a total badass? And that they have the cyborg attack. You get like the mods. You know what I mean? They mod you with kind of like cyborg like implants and stuff. Dude, that game is going to be so cool. Like,
I really hope.
I'm going to be all over that.
Yeah, that's probably a day one purchase for me.
Mm-hmm.
In other exciting news, Turtle Rock Studios, who is responsible for
something, bud.
That's all right.
Okay.
We'll just keep going.
We should talk about celebrities, though.
Should we?
I mean, we talked about Lady Gaga.
All right.
There's another celebrity that's been in the news recently.
All right. Yeah, we can't pass that up.
An internet celebrity.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So PewDiePie. This is a heavy story.
He did start off as a gamer.
Yeah.
It's a very heavy story. I mean, he's still kind of a gamer. Like, he does more of his own stuff now, but
PewDiePie did nothing wrong.
yeah, he did nothing wrong.
Period.
We'll start there. Like, he did nothing wrong. Like, he's made a mistake or two. Like, the one thing he said, like, he used the N-word on a live stream. Like, that was
Okay, he did
that was
one thing
definitely
wrong. He did a few things wrong. Okay, fair.
So like that was wrong, but like, you know, he came out
Recently.
afterwards. He came out after that and was just like, no, that was really dumb of me to say that. Like,
I think he finally understood that there was millions of people that he was influencing after that.
But like pretty much all the other stuff that he was being attacked on was pretty much all stuff that was taken out of context.
Yeah.
And as we know, in the internet in 2019, context doesn't matter.
Right.
So, but anyway, I have a little bit of this to get through. So first, I'll start off with Andrew Todd. He was a contributor to The Guardian, IGN, Polygon, and the New Zealand Herald.
Reporter. Okay.
He, the day of the attack, he came out with tweets in regard to the shooter saying the word "subscribe to PewDiePie." This first tweet got 18,000 likes. He said the Christchurch shooter posted a manifesto on 8chan and shouted "subscribe to PewDiePie" before opening fire on the mosque, live streaming the whole thing. The internet is 1,000% a vehicle for right-wing radicalization. His second tweet, F you PewDiePie fans, your boy has had too many racism, Nazism scandals to write off as a coincidence or edgy comedy. His jokes aren't funny and he's effing trash. Last tweet, people are dead in my city, so don't come to me with your disingenuous, he didn't mean it, or it was just a joke. Normalizing racism to millions of subscribers, many kids, has serious ramifications which we're seeing borne out right now in the most horrific way possible.
1 second.
Yeah.
This is kind of referring to the shooter from New Zealand and the mosque. Yeah.
Yes.
Let's just put it out there. I don't
Yes.
think. I think he
It's essentially
but I don't think he said
it's
that
essentially
loud.
like he's kind of like looking. I think part of it is that like he's looking for a big figure to put the blame on for the shooting and
so
the
this
guy,
is the shooter is blaming PewDiePie.
No. This was just a reporter from New
Zealand.
Zealand who like he's a game journalist and he's and this was a big tweet, like 18,000 likes.
Yeah.
And
I feel like you could do that. You could do that with any. You could do it with Donald Trump or even like Hillary Clinton. Like you could piece out her tweets or social media posts and be like, well, this, and this. If you add them together,
right?
Like you know what I mean, and things that.
Well, this was one full statement. Those 3 tweets were one full statement.
Yeah.
And he's had there was another article from Paste, and this is a little bit long, so I'll try and speed through it. Says, we're not saying that PewDiePie has ever intentionally encouraged these kids of disgusting inhuman actions. We're not arguing that PewDiePie in any way supports the shooting or agrees with the racist white supremacist sentiment behind them. Blah, blah, blah. And he points out the history of racist humor. And then it says, again, we're not saying PewDiePie inspired this Islamophobic mass murder. But then at the bottom of this article, it says, if a single PewDiePie fan followed his recommendation to that neo-Nazi's videos and developed hateful and bigoted thoughts, it's too many and PewDiePie would be to blame. So, like, we're not blaming him, but we're blaming him, is essentially what the article says. Right. And, like, it's just, it's a really messy situation, and it's a really unfortunate tragedy, but, like, to say that PewDiePie's to blame, like, the guy is a huge YouTuber, he's a big celebrity, especially for the gaming circles and for...
he's got 90 million subscribers.
Yeah, he's up to, I'm following the count, actually, 90,048,027, and he's ahead of T-Series by 22,781. So,
woohoo! We're still winning.
Yeah, I mean, silver lining, I guess. But it's just it's this kind of stuff is a little bit. This kind of rhetoric, I think, is kind of dangerous to say. Well, if you get big enough as an individual who just makes content, then you're potentially to blame and connected to this person's actions.
And that's the thing. It's like, obviously, for some reason on the internet today, you have to say that killer's actions were wrong. Okay, everybody gets that.
And
that was
to Felix's credit, he came out like the same day,
right,
when he found out about it, and says like, "I am totally against this guy."
Now that said, now that we got that out of the way, that's messed up, and you shouldn't be killing people. That's stupid. But then, like, the counterpoint is that one person does not influence. You can't influence and make someone do that. Like, if you have edgy content that might have white like alt-right supremacists on, that's going to draw crazy people in. It's not going to make them crazy. They said the same thing about Marilyn Manson in the 90s. It's like, oh, he made these killers, and it's like, no. If you look at the dude, he's a little edgy, but he wants to make people think, if you listen to his message.
Yeah, because I've even seen like Marilyn Manson do interviews and stuff, and he's like, he's kind of out there, but he's really not, like,
he really knows what he's doing, and
he's a very articulate kind of guy.
Yeah. So it's just because you're a large influencer does not mean you're responsible for anyone else's actions.
So I think it's all spin, man. It's like, even like that's what this reporter is doing, is just spinning a story and putting it on, and like and kind of, it's just clickbait, man. Like,
I mean, like
the media has been on PewDiePie multiple times over nothing.
Right. Well, they're just mad because they know that they're on an outdated. Like they're about to go under, and as we saw with all those journalists.
The worst occurrence I had ever seen was Wall Street Journal's hit piece on him.
I know,
it was terrible.
So I mean, what can you do?
A lot of large media outlets have wrote, like USA Today and stuff.
PewDiePie has enough money and resources to where like his audience is bigger than a lot of their journals already. And he probably has enough money to buy them if he wanted to.
And that said, I mean, one man can have a large influence over a lot of people.
Sure,
but the counterpoint to that is that he has never. He had Ben Shapiro on. Okay, he's a guy who was talking about memes. He's not calling people to action to say, go murder people.
Yeah.
You might have a point if that was the case, but tell us what you think in the comments. I'm sure you'll let us know if you disagree.
I don't think he put Ben Shapiro on his show because he's conservative. I think he put Ben Shapiro on because
he had Ben Shapiro memes that were
it's just the memes.
Right.
It's an unrelated, it's kind of a I guess a kind of victim of circumstance, or you know what I mean.
Totally.
That's how.
And there were also, I should also mention that there were a lot of other YouTubers that were supporting Felix and saying like, you're definitely not to blame for this happening. That's terrible.
That was heartening.
I think it's funny that you bring that up, because it's like most people, I feel like, and most content creators like PewDiePie and they like Felix, they like who he is. Yeah. But it's like you get these giant companies, media companies, and
they have an agenda to try and take him down.
They need to make money.
Right. Yeah. Well, they would prefer, any percentage of his views to go their way instead, and that's why it kind of like it strikes me as funny is that somebody's going to try and spin mass shooting on PewDiePie.
I mean, they did it with video games, and now it's PewDiePie. Anything that gets a big audience.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Is like anybody who has ever watched a PewDiePie thing is potentially going to get a relatable click or impression to this title, the title of this article or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like,
okay, it does bring the clicks.
Let's put the shooting that happened last night, which is going to be all over national news, and then. For YouTube, the biggest YouTuber who's constantly, getting tons of clicks, and it's like, okay, that'll be a great way to like boost my numbers, as a reporter or as a writer. It's like, okay, you want to see me get 100, a million views?
Yeah, and there were tons and tons and tons of articles all saying like meme culture and Gamergate are to blame for this.
And you know what is the most messed up thing is that the guy who did the killing was so self-aware that he knew exactly what this was going to cause. Yeah. He got the most amount of media that he could, and none of them could help but just grab for the clicks and give him what he wants. It's just disgusting. Yeah.
But that's what I think of. That's what, and
here we are.
Not to get off topic.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Are we any better than them?
Well, I think we're having a discussion about it. We're not. I don't think we're gonna title.
We're not gonna put that in the title.
Well, the difference, I think,
PewDiePie, man. But we might.
Oh my god.
The difference here, though, is that he was wanting the major media outlets to place blame and shift blame and things like that, and because his whole point was. Because I've seen parts of his manifesto, like I've seen some of the stuff he was talking about, where his main goal was to increase rates of division and increase like the public opinion, and to make it so that like left and right would increase their
trying to spark the Civil War.
Yeah, he's like trying to ramp up the attacks on between both sides, and that was his main driver. Like and. So that's why he pulled in PewDiePie. He's just a meme lord that went way too far. Yeah, obviously.
I mean, he knew that was going to get 90 million people talking about it. Like, what better way than to say?
But my point was just that it's not. I don't think it's really the same thing because we're not really we're at least aware enough of the situation to come at it where like we know what his goal was, and we're not going for that because we're not singling out PewDiePie. We're not going to blame him for something that he wasn't in control of.
The goal is to get everyone to calm down and come together.
Yeah. So.
Well, that's the thing. Like you were saying earlier, though, too, is like I think a lot of these people who do stuff like this in their mind, it's completely justified as to why they do it, and it's like, it usually doesn't align with social norms and stuff, but it's like. Somebody could think about, murdering 40 people, and for whatever reason in their mind, it's perfectly sane.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
that's
kind of a tragedy of it is that you could potentially go about it a different way and get your message across differently. But
I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well,
some people are like the Joker. They just want to see the world burn.
I was just thinking that. But
so.
Well, like you said, he wrote like a 70-page manifesto or something.
Yeah, he had like an 80, like it was some super long draft, and then he had a really, really short draft.
Yeah, but it's like, I mean, there's stuff in there, and it's just like,
and that's the irony behind it because like he knew that the guy was like so thinking of like so ahead. And calculated that like he knew that he could write an entire book explaining exactly the reasons why he was doing what he was doing.
And people would read
and people would not read them. The media wouldn't read them, and the media didn't read them because they didn't report on the actual like core reasons for his actions. Mm. They just found a couple talking points that they can get clicks from. And they're just like, well, this is why he did it. And
they just paraphrase what they want.
And this is who you should hate and who you should blame for this.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a sticky situation all around.
Pressing situation.
But I think all things considered, Felix did handle it the right way because these media outlets are going to target him, and they're going to go to him and they're going to see him saying like, nope, I don't endorse this. This is not who I am. This is not what I'm about. This is not what I want my following to be about.
I think anybody who has like a good piece of mind, or in the right sense, is going to go right to PewDiePie's channel and then like look for that response, and then I feel like at this point PewDiePie knows how to handle stuff like this, and it's just like he's basically just because he's been in so many situations. It's like he really.
If there was anybody who could teach a masterclass on how to get out of a sticky situation.
Well, not only that, but like just to know what to do, and it's like just to come out with a statement and say no, I don't support this, and I don't condone the behavior that happened, and even though such and such groups of people are saying, I don't, and that's it. And and then, but what the best thing about him is that with PewDiePie is like he just moves on. Yeah. He just keeps going, and it's like, I don't know if he's just totally addicted to fucking YouTube or what, but it's like, but he's made lots of mistakes, but that's one of the biggest things about him is he just keeps going.
Well, it doesn't give him any ammo, you know what I mean? Because it's like, big headline, PewDiePie goes back to content as usual. Yeah. Like, it doesn't give him
he definitely just continues on, and like, I think it shows. I mean, long run is like this where he was before and where he's gotten to now, and kind of what kind of videos he likes to make. And I mean, there was a huge point in time where I think he wasn't happy with what was going on, and then there was kind of like you could see a flip get switched, or a switch get flipped, and then he came right out and he was like, I'm kind of tired of making videos where I'm like supposed to be super happy all the time. And he's like, I'm not. And and then he, what I mean? And then he just continued through that too. And that's like, that's more of an interpersonal problem, but it's still a problem. And
I respect
he just powers through it. Yeah, I mean, I think he's
That's when I started liking his content.
Yeah,
he's real.
Yeah, because I think for a while, like, he was definitely all about It just seemed
Let's
like
just pretend to love everything that I'm
he
playing.
just was all about, like, I feel like the demographic, a certain demographic, and I feel like now he has a new target audience and that he wants, you know what I mean? And I think he's trying to appeal to, and not saying that the people who watched him before were dumb or anything, but he's trying to appeal to sensible people who make their own decisions.
He's definitely all about the memes now instead of games. So back to games.
Yeah, back to games. Who did that? Got something nice.
So last piece of news here. It's a long news segment here. Turtle Rock Studios, which is responsible for Left 4 Dead, they have announced a new zombie slaying game called Back 4 Blood. Yep.
I like that name.
I mean, Valve obviously owns the rights to Left 4 Dead.
Is it a 4?
It's pretty much Left 4 Dead 3. It's pretty much.
Is the 4 a 4?
What?
Is the 4 the number 4?
Yes.
Just like Left 4 Dead was
Yep.
4. Yeah.
Back 4 Blood. So, the publisher Warner Brothers said in a recent announcement that Back 4 Blood marries the best of what made the co-op zombie shooter so successful with new features and state-of-the-art technology. What that is, no one knows. It's so far off that we barely should even be talking about this. I'm pretty sure the only reason they announced it is because they have job postings right now, because they have job listings on their site for art, engineering, level design, and operations. So it's not coming out for a good long time, but they are focusing on PC, Xbox One, PlayStation 4. Confirmed that it's going to have a campaign and PvP. So
That's cool.
I mean,
they didn't have PvP. Left 4 Dead never had PvP before.
No, it did.
In Left 4 Dead 2?
Mm-hmm.
It did?
Yep.
Oh, I never played it.
Yeah, you could play as one of those.
Oh, no, you're
specialists.
right. You can't. Yeah, you could. Well, no, it was like you were a zombie.
Oh, yeah.
You had a zombie class, and then
it was like the
everybody
zombies
else would be
versus the
humans.
humans. Yeah.
I was wondering if they have a PvP that's more traditional, where it's you have humans versus humans, and then maybe there's some zombies in the mix.
Right.
Because there's been some other games like that where it's kind of the multiplayer arena, but then it's PvPvE.
Evolve.
Yeah.
Yeah. They mentioned that. That's pretty much they don't have the rights. They're not going to do anything with it.
Yeah.
So that's dead
That's
too.
a bummer.
But yeah, I mean,
It's a good concept.
Yeah, it
It
was
was.
a great concept.
It's unfortunate that they got nickeled and dimed to death by the publisher. That's what killed that. But so that's all for the news.
Which reminds me of that
let's talk
GTFO
about-
game.
GTFO.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
We talked about that a little before today.
I'm excited for that one. Yeah, that's who's that by? That's I don't know.
10 Chambers?
No, it's a different one.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, we're gonna play that when it comes out because it looks dope.
Let's talk about the Division.
Yeah,
So
it's 10 Chambers Collective.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway,
yet.
sorry.
Yeah,
That's fine.
That's okay. So the Division 2 came out for regular public, I guess, and I know it came out a week early. I think if you bought the premium or the gold edition, I think you got it 3 or 4 days early or something.
Okay.
But the Division is out for the regular public people, and so I've been playing it. I rented it, and so I rented it for 3 days, and I probably got close to 12 hours. And so I played a good bit, but I wasn't able to finish it. And I also played the Division 1, so I'm basically just going to talk about kind of some pros and cons and what the game's about, what they're doing. And I started with a pros and cons list, and then I kind of went off in a different direction. So to start where the game starts is you can create your own character. There's a lot of options for personalization. The only thing I didn't like about it was that there were a lot of options, a lot of different groups of things that you could choose, but none of the options were that deep.
I
didn't like. So they had some face mapping options that you could choose to kind of scale things around with.
Sure.
But I didn't think they didn't even have lips in there. That was the one thing I noticed. It was they had cheek and nose and eyes and stuff, but it's there's no lips and stuff. And I was okay. And it just it gave you, which is nice, but at the same time, it's when you play with other people, I guess you really don't notice too much of that stuff. It's you really don't get too close to other players.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of okay there, but it kind of just goes away from the personalization a little bit. So there's a touch of it, but it's not a heavy touch.
Right. It's
which
just
I kinda,
pretend to
pretend
your
to
own
make it
character.
look like you.
Yeah.
But it's tough because you have to work with 16 base models and then go from there. And it's
Gotcha.
when you only have so many options,
Right.
can you really make it that unique? But the big things that I noticed were the skill platforms, and so you can get skill points, and to basically the skill platforms are different devices. So each there's 8 different platforms. There might be 1 or 2 more, but so you have a pulse, a drone, a chem launcher, hive, seeker mine, a turret, firefly, and a shield. And so like the drone and the firefly are kind of like similar. The hive and the seeker mine are similar.
Now why are they called platforms?
I don't know why they because like that's when you go into the menu, like that's what their nodes are called.
Oh,
like,
I
kind
see.
of like that's what they call them. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, when you go into the quartermaster, you have your skill platforms, and then because you can actually go like the drone has multiple, I guess
customization,
customization. So like things you can do with the drone, like it's a lot of healing, or kind of blinding your enemies, or just attacking them outright.
Gotcha.
And diversionary tactics and defensive tactics and stuff like that.
Sure.
What I used was the seeker mine, which is really cool. It was like a little ball that has like kind of treads all over it, and you drop it, and then so the option that I went with, and you can unlock the other customizations for your skill platform. You can also use 2 while I'm mentioning it. So I used the chem launcher and the seeker mine.
Okay.
And I used the seeker mine that could attack, and so you basically could drop it on the floor or just throw it, and it would like break up into different like little rolly balls, and then they would target different enemies automatically, and then it'd be like
oh, okay,
like all over the screen. And then so the first chem launcher attachment that I used was like a flammable mist, and so he like shoots the chem launcher, and then all you have to do is shoot the mist. And then like it just engulfs in flames, and then the enemies catch on fire and start taking damage.
Do you start off? Do you start off with these, or like
you earn like the skill point?
What is like the loot progression system like?
The loot progression?
Yeah.
You want me to skip to loot progression?
Well,
okay. I just wanted to go through the skills first.
Oh yeah, sure.
And then So basically, well, it was nice just to see that many devices comparing that to the first division, where like the first division kind of had the 3 trees, and then these were you had like one had a turret, one had like a healing, and because one was an engineer, one was support, and then one was a medic.
I see.
And then so like it was kind of cool for them to see them go in like a little bit of a different direction. They also had a lot of passive upgrades or perks that could change how your armor works, your inventory spaces, grenades, ammo. Stuff like that. What was really interesting though is one of they're passive perks that you can scale up and attribute more points to. And what was cool though, under there they had one called a challenge bounties, and then so if you unlock that passive perk, you get one challenging bounty per day that gets you rewards. So kind of like similar to the Apex Battle Pack, where you have like a kind of like a challenge of the day, and then you get rewards.
And do all the trees kind of end in that sort of progression, or?
They don't have trees. You only have one. So instead of having like the 3 classes, but that actually leads into like the thing I'm going to talk about later. There are trees, but not until later in the game.
I see.
And then so like when you start off and when you go through the regular level progression, you have those devices that you can unlock different attachments for, and then you have the passive skills that you can level up.
Gotcha.
And then so the only issues that I really saw were I had some like spotty lag at times where I got like a poor connection to the host server. I ran into some invisible walls, and then I had some rendering issues sometimes.
Yeah.
But the thing is like you really only load the game initially, and like you can run from one side of the city to the other without running into a loading screen.
Okay.
If you go into a mission, like, and it has a lot of times what they do is they put elevators in the mission, and then like there's kind of a loading screen, but none of it was ever longer than 20 seconds at most. And one time I was playing with a friend of mine, and I got in the elevator, and it went like I could hear it go down, and he started playing. He was like, "Yo, where are you?" He's like, "What are you doing?" And I guess my player model was just standing there, but my screen was still black.
Oh, that happens.
And then so I hit the home button to go back to my browser, like my desktop or my PS4 hub or whatever, and then I just hit it again, and then I was back in the game. But it was kind of like I don't know what was going on there.
That happened to me a few times in Destiny too.
Yeah. And what do you want to know about the loot?
I was just curious what the leveling up and what the loot loop, the feedback loop that you gain loot, you get stronger. Like, how does that work in this game?
I mean, exactly that. I mean, it's basically a generic looter shooter in that aspect, whereas you go up levels and get stronger. As you go up the levels, you just unlock more guns
Right,
and armor, and so you have different pieces of clothing. I guess you can wear a different piece of armor you can attach, and then everything pretty much has an armor rank, and it has levels. So like you can get an M16 that's level 4, and then then you go to maybe level 5 or 6, and then you could find another M16,
Right.
and then so there's different areas in the map that have different level ratings. Like, so if you're 4 to 7, you should be in this area. If you're 7 to 10, you should be in this area.
Right.
And then there's loot skills like that. An interesting thing is that when I joined a couple guys that I know, and they were all level 20, and then all my gear immediately scaled up to match theirs.
Oh, nice. That's
which
good.
was kind of cool, because I was like, well, what's going to happen? And then I joined in, and I was like, okay, now my stuff is all a lot higher and a lot stronger. And then so that was really nice, because then you can just pick up and play with them
Right.
and go through their game. And that was kind of like where I started to get towards the end. I played that, I did that the second night I had it. So I had the game for 3 days. I did that the second night.
Yeah.
So I don't know if any of the missions, I only did a couple missions with them, and then we went into the dark zone. And so I don't know if any of the missions, I don't think I would have cleared any of those in my game, only because I was nowhere near that.
Right.
But I can't say for sure if that's a thing, because I didn't even double check on that. But what I did do while I was with them is we went into the dark zone, because we had a larger group of 3.
Yeah. Hopefully
the dark
it's
zone,
better than the first one.
well, I don't think my experience was very good. I did read some forums about people having different experiences, but when I went into the dark zone, I didn't see any other players other than our group.
Oh, really?
Which was kind of shit.
That's weird.
Yeah, it was kind of weird, but I mean, we were in there for an hour and a half at least, and I didn't see any other guys, and there was different factions of NPC enemies that were in there, and that were fighting each other, and so every now and then it's I was like, yo, there's got to be guys over here, because
Right.
shit's kicking off,
Right.
but it's no,
No,
not them.
nobody
But
around.
we did, so I did, that kind of sucked, but we did get to go through a lot of the instants and stuff that they have in the dark zone, which were fun, and they're reoccurring. So it's kind of you could clear a little a part of the dark zone and then kind of just keep circling around.
Okay.
You still get contaminated items, but you also get regular items in the dark zone.
And what are
So
contaminated?
contaminated items in the dark zone is because the dark zone has the pandemic that's ruined the rest of the world. It's still really prevalent in that area.
Gotcha.
So some of the items you get are contaminated by the
Yeah.
disease or whatever. So you have to extract them via helicopter. This was a
gotcha.
concept that was in the first one too.
Yeah.
And but in the first one, everything you got was contaminated.
I gotcha.
So-
Yeah, you had to wait till they get the extraction
Well,
point.
the thing is, then you go to extract, and then it takes 30 or 45 seconds for the helicopter to come.
People
But then
will rush
other
you.
players
Yeah.
try to come and rip you off or whatever. But like I said, I didn't see any. And we even did the rogue to the max affinity, and basically we were 100% rogue. When you start going, you have to keep pushing the rogue, or your rogue timer goes down. But if you go to 100%, you're maxed out, and then there's no more timer. And the only way to leave the dark zone is through what they call Thieves' Den, which is basically a door to get out. And the one time we ran by the regular doors just to get out of the dark zone.
Yeah.
So if you don't know, when you go to the dark zone is a completely a walled off area, and you have to go through doors to get into it. And then so you have to go through said doors to get back out. But if you go rogue 100% and you go towards those doors,
Yeah.
there's turrets with electric, they'll hit you with electricity and tase you, and then they'll basically just rip you down with the machine gun and kill you. And it's like that. And so that's why you have to go back out through the Thieves' Den. But what it's supposed to happen is that when you go 100% rogue, you're supposed to get better loot and stuff. But I really didn't notice it at all. Like I said, my dark zone visit was kind of uneventful.
Yeah.
Aside from doing regular firefights with enemies that I could do in the regular world.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of how it went mostly for me. I mean, I played a lot with one other guy, and then I played a fair bit with a group of 2 more, so we had a group of 3.
Okay.
The graphics I thought were really well done. They weren't as good, in my opinion, as Red Dead, but I think Red Dead has a little bit more polish on it.
Right.
And I also think Red Dead is a little bit softer for kind of like, not a lot, but like more for like an aesthetic look.
Oh, I gotcha.
It's like a little bit softer edges, where I feel like the Division is very rough and edgy.
Gotcha.
And there's a lot of detail, a lot more detail than kind of like the Wild West.
Yeah.
A lot of harder edges because you're in like a rundown city versus Red Dead, where you're kind of in the woods and deserts, and it's kind of soft and
Right.
But it suffered a little, but I don't have the PS Pro, so I wasn't playing in 4K, and I'm playing on the regular PlayStation 4, so I'm playing in 1080 high def or whatever. And it looked great for the most part, other than those issues with rendering. At one point when I was in the settlement, the first settlement, I felt like I was in Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Oh no!
It's like, seriously, just because I don't think it was rendered completely, and then there was a lot of those kind of like
low res
people. Yeah, and I mean, they're not super low res like Tony Hawk, but like for a game in 2019, it's kind of like, where am I for a second? And then like I came back later and it was mostly cleared up.
Oh, okay, but, gotcha. So they had some,
but issues. So the gameplay and the game mechanics and the combat system is really is just as good as it was in the Division 1. The gunplay and the cover system works amazingly well. I actually thought the guns performed a little better than in the Division 1. Like, there's a little bit more of an emphasis on control, so like pulling the stick down with recoil and kind of like tracing and tracking your enemies manually.
So the gunplay's better?
I thought there was a big improvement, maybe not a big improvement, but I think it was a step forward.
How did the guns sound? Did they feel good when you shot them?
They do feel good, and I think the thing with the sound is the higher your volume is, the better everything is.
That's always the case.
But also because there's a lot of like ambient noise in the game that it's like, if you don't have your volume high enough, you're not going to be able to hear those levels.
Oh,
you know
I see.
what I mean? And but I liked it. I feel like though in the Division and in the other one too, like your gun sounds one way, but when you hear other people, and I guess it would be like that in real life, but when you hear other people's, they sound a little bit different. Okay. So like, even if I have an M16 and then someone else has an M16, my M16 sounds a little bit different, and theirs sounds like a little more muffled, a little bit lower.
That makes sense.
I guess they would be a couple feet, but I think that's really where the Division shines is with that being said, is like when you're in a full group, and you're playing through the game, and you get in firefights, and because you're in a group, you'll encounter more enemies, and so your firefights get a lot larger, and so there's a lot more volume to them, a lot of like bullets whizzing, impact of bullets, people getting hit, shooting, and it just like, that's when the immersion is totally like on 11, you know what I mean? It's just like when you're in a firefight and your friends are like calling out to you because they're down, but you can't even hear them you can like faintly hear them in the headset because there's so much going on. It's like, that's when the Division really comes alive. And
so how many times did you have a situation like that? Was it scarce, or was it
only like when I got in the group of 3? When I was playing with my one friend that I played a lot of it with, it was good, but it wasn't like full on. You know what I mean? So then it's kind of just like, it's a lot similar to how the first Division was. This, like, the story really, like, it's there, like the pandemic, and like in Division 2, it's just the pandemic has spread and stuff like that, and so like
they still tell stuff really through like recordings or whatever.
Yeah, and like I don't even know what the F is going on, like what the specifics of the story are, because it's like they just don't bring you into it. I mean, they do, like, they leave it there for you to listen to, but like, there's cutscenes and stuff, and they're like, okay, like, can I just go back to mowing people down and collecting loot, because that's why everybody's here, you know? And so that's kind of so what I wrote for story was more pandemic, more fighting, and there was like more factions in territory, but that's the same as the Division 1 was. It's like there's different factions that have taken over different territories in the city, and your job as a Division agent is to eliminate those rebel factions, I guess, or whatever. So, and I mean, that's kind of the game in a nutshell. Like I said, I think it really shines when you get 3 of your friends together, make a full squad of 4, and then you're playing through the game that way.
Nice.
And then, and so like, I don't know, should I rate it?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's your overall take on it? You could rate it. You could.
But in the same token, I've like there's some other games that are like kind of, and I know there's a PvP element to the Division, but I feel like it's much more PvE and group based and like cooperative. I think like there's a lot more content for that in the game.
Yeah.
And so I think they've done really well with the release, and I think like there's an article that was teased the other day about it being the best looter shooter since ever. And like I don't know, It very well could be on release. I know there's a lot, and the reason why I say that is because I read a lot into the end game.
Warning: there are spoilers ahead, so please proceed at your own risk. Thank you.
And so I'll try to like just brush through that really fast. But basically, with the end game of the Division 1 was like non-existent.
Right.
Basically, it was like, okay,
Dark
you can go
Zone
back
is
to
a
the
joke.
Dark Zone and just play multiplayer, really.
Yeah.
But now, so the end game, and I have tons of shit I wrote, but I'll just run right through it.
Yeah.
Is basically what they've done is they've made just kind of like Paragon levels with Diablo 3. They've made another basically level system that you can go through, and then what happens after you complete, they give you 3 more devices that you can pick in there. It's like a flamethrower, a high-powered sniper rifle, and an explosive crossbow.
Okay, so they give you content to grind for.
And then you can level up those as well. And the same thing as the other ones, you can unlock them all. And so you never need to create a new character, which is I'm okay with, I guess, as long as you keep. Because that was my big gripe with the first Division. Is like they give you everything, and then there's no end game. So why make a new character?
Right.
Like you don't need to level up any of the classes again.
Yeah.
And so what they did in this one is there's world tier levels, and then basically you go back and you'll play. Well, what happens is a new faction comes to town at the end.
Okay.
And basically, I don't know, is that spoilers?
A little bit.
It is a little bit spoilers, isn't it?
We'll cut that out.
A little disclaimer, a little bit of spoilers.
Yeah.
Well, basically, what happens is another faction shows up, and then you replay some of the same missions that you did. But what has happened, instead of like the hyenas, which is one of the factions, you fight against like the Black Tusk or something, and then the Black Tusk. But what happens is the mission changes. Even though you play in somewhat of the same environment, the mission parameters change because the new faction has come in and done something different. And so, which I really like. Yeah, maybe I should have worded that a little bit different. Fucking spoilers, man. But I didn't think it was that bad because it's not like this. I'm not talking about. I guess I kind of, but it's not like the last mission and stuff. But basically, it's the ascension of the game. And so basically, you go through the world tier levels and you kind of have to complete a lot of the missions again, but then go back and complete the stronghold areas. And the stronghold areas are basically like top level. You can go there whenever you want, but like there's one really close to the beginning, but it's like level 26. And sometimes I'd walk too close to a group that was patrolling in the area, and it's like 2-3 bullets and I'm dead. And then and so you kind of go back through and then you do the strongholds and you complete some of the missions, and you kind of you have a gear kind of similar to Destiny, like with the light level, you kind of have like a gear level, and so you have to keep getting it up to keep getting the world tier level up, and then you just keep leveling up that way. And then what's happened is the world tier 5, which is the last one, is not available right now.
Oh, okay.
So that's kind of like where they leave it, and that's kind of the game in a nutshell.
Wow.
But I really,
Wow.
I feel like that was pretty concise.
Yeah.
But yeah, so and then I liked how they focused in with the end game stuff, and instead of like, because even with like Destiny 1, like there wasn't much of an end game on initial release, and like a lot of them is like that's where it struggles, and especially if you make a game where you're not going to make more characters, it's like do something.
Right, that seems to be the big consensus with a lot of these, is like they don't give you anything to work towards. Once you hit the end, it's like, okay, well, thanks for grinding.
Well, and that's what other people were talking about, is like your loot still goes up.
Yeah.
I mean, like the numbers on damage and RPM and DPS and stuff still go up, but like 1%. As once you get to the end.
I mean, that's how it works in the end game. It's a slow grind because you got to work towards it.
But what's nice is like after the story. This is the structure. The point that I'm talking about, this end game point, is like it's it's after the end of the story.
Right.
And so that's why I feel like it's kind of spoiler free. But also, I never played the last mission, so I don't know how I could spoil it.
I don't know.
But
we'll just throw a little disclaimer in before that. We'll be fine.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, so that's kind of the Division 2 in a nutshell. And I liked it. I'm not going to buy it. Only because I don't have that group to play with.
Right.
And Sekiro comes out in a week, and so I'm just kind of like...
Right. Worth it if you have friends, but otherwise don't waste your time.
I feel like renting it was really good, was a really good idea.
Yeah.
And so and then it's like you can just gauge
guys.
it. Yeah, you can just gauge it from there. I mean, I rented it for 3 days for $7.
If you bought it for full price, would you feel ripped off?
It would be hard to say because I would probably work harder over the next week to get to the end and then see what was going on. And potentially I would have bandwagoned more friends to get on with me and stuff like that. But what happened was, I rented it, and then a close friend of mine I got rented too.
Oh, nice.
And so that was kind of the one guy I was playing with. So
cool.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a super serious approach to tackling the game, but I wanted to get into it and see what it had and to offer. And it was nice. I mean, it's definitely a cool game to pick up and rent and play for a little while. And if you think it's going to be something that you want to pick up, then you'll know at that point.
Yeah, if you like that type of game and you got a group of friends, pick it up.
But at the same time, I definitely think that part of the game, it was a lot like the Division 1, so it's just kind of like a step up,
Right.
So,
but it didn't have the section where the Dark Zone people just swoop in and steal all your loot all the time.
Yeah, it was kind of lame, man. I really wanted to see people in the Dark Zone. We were literally running around trying to find people. It's no, why is nobody here?
Right.
But I think what happens too with the Dark Zone that I read before it came out was that different Dark Zones have different events.
Yeah.
And there's 3 Dark Zones, so potentially there was another Dark Zone with something going on that we didn't know about.
Oh, I see.
That doesn't just show up when you go over that area. So.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, all in all, it was fun. If you want to buy it, I mean, and you're interested in it, I say go for it. Why not? If you think you're not going to play anything else for a month, I'd say pick it up. Why not?
It's a hard why not.
I think it's just a niche thing. It's a niche thing, you know what I mean? Especially how we were talking about earlier, where it's the game market is so saturated and demand is high for good games, but it's all subjective. You know what I mean?
I feel you, man.
Yeah,
for sure. All right. Well,
that's the Division 2.
That's the Division 2, and that's our show. Minus the fact that I got to recap this question of the week. Yeah. Have you ever gotten in a fight over a video game? With whom? And what happened? Let us know.
And then there's the Epic Trash Challenge.
The
Find
Epic
Trash
Challenge. First of all, as always, send us your trash clips. If you do something that is trash worthy, that people would scream trash at you if they saw you do, send that in. And then for this week's challenge, send us a clip or screenshot of a game that has to do with trash somehow. Anything. If you see a dumpster fire, screenshot it, send it our way. If you see some refuse on the ground, screenshot it, send it.
There's tons of refuse.
Please just interact with us. We need this. Anyways, thank you for watching.